Hey, welcome into the Husker247 Daily Monday edition here of a bye week. I am Mike Schaefer, joined by Michael Bruntz. And Bruntz, it is a little bit too common around here, Nebraska fans dealing with a little bye week blues. So let's just dive right into it. If you were running things, if Matt Rule came over to you and like, hey, Michael, you've been following this program. You come here on Mondays and Tuesdays and you ask your questions and you come watch the team on Saturdays. How should we be using this bye week? I don't know why Matt Rule would be turning to you for such a question, but let's say
Yeah,
that he was
I
hypothetically.
don't know either. What would I do? I think I would try to find some things offensively you can do that are not going to that they're going to allow you to work around your offensive line situation a little bit. Um, Nebraska's not going to see a ton of defensive players on its schedule like they did against Michigan. However, there was a lot that kind of came up in that game that I think it is going to be used by future opponents to try to get to Nebraska's offense. In addition to just running around guys, and then I'd start there on offense. What would you do defensively? I have an idea defensively, but because it's not just I don't think it's just limited to the work needing to be done on one side of the ball this week.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I'm actually glad you started with offense because I continue to believe Nebraska's offense is kind of the key to all of this. Like I think they have the ability to score enough points against most of the teams on their schedule that they can kind of, if they have to outscore some teams to win, I think they can do that. That's what it would have been against Michigan on Saturday had they been able to get another touchdown in there or finished off that first drive or kick the field goal, what have you. So I definitely think offensively they still have to be led that way. So I hope that there is an equal amount of focus on both because I know that everybody wants to talk about Nebraska's front seven in the run game defensively, but I think there's a lot of value in what you said about finding some things that allow you to work through maybe some of the limitations and deficiencies that you have up front. Because the other thing is, it's not just as simple as leaving guys in to pass protect. Because if Nebraska did that, and when they would do that against Michigan, Michigan still had numbers on you with 7 guys back defensively. So they've got to be able to find ways to win in empty sets and everything. But defensively, is it stupid that like my emphasis would just be like going back to the basics on some stuff? Because
yeah,
when it was fine for Nebraska, it was fine. I mean, Michigan averaged 5 yard or 4 yards to carry, what have you. And then there's those 3 bus plays where they score their touchdowns that largely better fundamentally sound football helps you out in those situations. Better run fits, better closing out in the box, or performing your stunt better that you're not leaving an open hole as large as it was on Saturday. Things like that, and then tackling. I mean, so much of Saturday to me, just the game could be decided not necessarily by what Michigan did up front or anything like that. They tackled in space, Nebraska didn't. End of story. Like I just, if Nebraska tackles marginally better, they're in that game with a much better chance to win it than they already were, and they only lost by 3 points. So for me, a lot of this week defensively would be just trying to get back to the basics because I don't think they have to reinvent the wheel. I don't think they have to completely throw out what they've been doing. They just have to be better at small, simple things that they already should be working on and focused on. And frankly, you would hope they'd be a little bit better at.
yeah. The tackling thing, that's probably where I would go first. I mean, I even the 3 long runs that they had, like, it felt like they were just busts.
Yep.
And it's the other thing that was a little bit concerning on those plays too was just how, I mean, it was like a dance. I mean, everybody was paired up, everybody was moving around together, not much
You missed a
separation.
great opportunity to throw a little hat on hat there. Yeah,
Yeah,
Michigan just played hat on hat football.
yeah. But I mean, you need to start seeing guys get off blocks a little bit more. And the tough part is Nebraska obviously, the discussion was right on, um, for most of the offseason with concerns about the front seven. But what it does is it forces your back seven and certainly the secondary to be really fine with the details and cleaning up a lot of that stuff. And when Nebraska secondary had its chance to do that, and the linebackers played a part in that too. They weren't able to do it. I mean, the long 75-yard run, it's a tough play and a tough spot for Marcus Buford in that hole to make the tackle, but you just got to get the guy on the ground. And I don't think there's any like wholesale changes on that side of the ball. You just got to be more buttoned up on the details and what you've been doing. And I don't know. I mean, is this a chance also for Nebraska to look at some other options or guys that, are maybe, kind of on the two deep, not starting, but do you think there's a chance that we see some new faces at all from, and not just defensively, but also on offense too, that maybe we haven't seen yet?
Maybe. I don't know exactly who that would be. I mean, some of it is what the health status is of where some of those guys are. I think Nebraska might have played Caleb Benning a little bit more if he was healthier on Saturday. We saw more Rex Guthrie than I think maybe we were prepared for in the second half there. And I don't know if that was a product of some of the struggles that Buford had in the first half. I don't know if he was just banged up. I'm not sure if Matt Rule referenced that during the press conference. It doesn't stand out to me when I think back on it, but so that's certainly an area. I don't know that there's a whole lot that's going to look different in your front seven or not. I think it feels really cliche to say this, but guys just need to play better. Slash, we have your opportunities, make a play, like get a guy to the ground or get a guy out of bounds, like. And it wasn't just all run plays either. There was probably 3 pass plays I can think of where defensive backs were in position to finish a play and just didn't, and allowed Michigan to extend a drive that ended in points. And so it's simple stuff like that. I think when they go back and they look at the film, those busts are going to stand out, but there's also going to be some good in there. I mean, they made Michigan work at times. The problem is it's like that Iowa thing. Michigan ran a similar play or the same play a couple different times, and eventually they got the look they wanted, the bust they wanted. And Justice Haynes is good enough as a home run hitter to send that thing over the fence. And I just don't know that there's a lot Nebraska will schematically do different, or even who else potentially could come in. Did you have any specific names that you were thinking about that you'd
No,
like to see more of? That's
no, I
that's the
mean,
challenge, I think.
yeah, no, I don't think there's any, but like the secondary, I'm curious about. Like you said, I think Benning, certainly is, when healthy, a potential option back there. I mean, I think Guthrie was more about Buford in the first half. I mean, does his role grow? I don't know. Malcolm Hartzog was out. What does his return mean after the bye week? Those types of things. I mean, I agree with you on defense. I mean, I think you just kind of you are who you are, and you just need to get better. And I mean, maybe this is a time to kind of push a pause button a little bit and kind of focus on yourself. And then, like, I don't know that you need to go full Junction Boys this week, but
You never need to go full Junction
the
Boys.
tackling was a little that was a concern, I think,
Yeah,
and especially given
sure.
how they've tackled in the past. I think that was a bit of a step back on Saturday.
Yeah, is there like a player or position group that you think is more under a microscope than anybody else in this 2-week stretch?
Oh, I think the offensive line for sure. I mean, and actually, it's I mean, it's the tackle spots. Like I
Yeah.
thought the interior played okay for the most part, but is Gunnar Gattulo the guy going forward? Is Elijah Pritchett in the conversation? I mean, I think he played 6 snaps on Saturday, so getting that figured out has to be, I think, top priority. And I thought Dylan played pretty well, all things considered, against a pretty good defense. So, that tackle stuff, or like I said, whether it's finding something and working around it, whether it's just getting guys to, play better or what, you've got to get that thing figured out, because the offense is going to need to hold up its end, and you can't do it with giving up the kind of pressure Nebraska did.
Yeah. Well, hey, we are going to have more conversations like this and plenty of content like this at Husker247.com. So we invite you to come check out everything we have going on. We're still going to keep a pretty regular schedule, even with the bye week. Matt Rule, I believe, talks here on Monday today. So we'll have coverage from that. We're going to have our podcast this week as well, maybe some extra podcast content as well. And of course, the Husker 24/7 Daily every day, 10 a.m., talking to you for a good 10 minutes there. So, for Michael Bruntz, I'm Mike Schaefer. Check out everything we have going on at Husker247.com. We'll catch you throughout the week.